Publitarian Podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. This is Ronald Johnson, Publitarian, coming at you again with another episode of Publitarian Podcast. This is episode 18, but before we get into it, let's do some news that matters.
And now, news that matters.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're sitting down for this. This is hard-hitting stuff from CNN Politics. CNN has Trump on tape saying, "Get me a Coke, please." That's right. There is a recording that was revealed by Trump's lawyer. I guess he illegally recorded him. And there's actual audio footage of Trump saying, "Get me a Coke, please." And if you go to CNN's website, they speculate about this for like a good 10 minutes in this opinion piece. Obviously, I'm not linking to it. I'm not giving them the clicks. But that's the news that matters for today, folks. If you don't take anything else away from this podcast, take away that Trump asked for a Coke and said, "Please." You're welcome. Anyway, this is episode 18. I don't have a title for it yet. I may not get a title. I'm not sure. I just wanted to do some ramblings and some news of the day and news of the week that I'm sure is on everybody's hearts and minds out there. And I haven't been behind this microphone in a few weeks, even though my faithful listeners wouldn't know that because my interview episodes have been coming out. But those had been pre-recorded for weeks, and I was just waiting to release them. So I actually haven't been behind the microphone and done any of my publitarian rambling for a few weeks now. So I missed it. So I'm back. Anyway, one of the big things I wanted to touch on was the shadow banning that's happening on social media. Everybody has their opinion on that, especially our side of the aisle. We tend to be more opinionated because we tend to be more free thinkers. So anyone that follows Instagram or Politigram or any of your favorite like right-leaning Instagram people, you might be seeing this term bandied about, shadow banning. So you're saying to yourself, what is shadow banning? So if you don't know, just a really quick definition of shadow banning is your account, your free speech being squashed, but you don't know that it's being squashed. It's being done in the shadows. So the social media company isn't coming out right and canceling your account, but what they are doing is playing with the algorithm to where your followers don't see your content, so effectively banning you, and you don't know you've been banned. You just keep on producing your content, and finally you will say, why is nobody responding to this content that I've put out there? It's because you've been shadow banned. And it happens to a lot of our accounts. It hasn't happened to mine as much. Hold on. There we go. Knock on some wood just in case. But I have seen it happen to the larger accounts. Just their interactions go down where like a video or picture or opinion that they post would usually get, thousands of likes or comments or engagements. It gets 100 instead. It's a very just nasty practice by the big social media giants. And that's one of the topics I wanted to talk about today because, like I said, it's weighing on everybody's mind, especially conservatives that just have this dangerous idea of free thought and free thinking, diversity of thought. And it's leaving people on our side of the aisle kind of in this desperation to where they want to actually run to the government for help. And I'm not going to totally discount that because there seems to be two sides of this aisle now as far as intervention by the government on social media. There's one side that says, no, the government needs to come in and equalize it. And because even though these organizations are private companies, if they are claiming to be an open forum and it's making them not susceptible to the umbrella of the FEC FCC, FEC. Then if they are claiming immunity from that, then they need to be a free and open forum. And then there's the other side of the aisle that says, no, these companies are private companies. They can do what they want. They can say what they want. It's their company. It's their property. And for anyone looking for me to weigh in on this issue, as you know, I'm usually very opinionated about everything. I don't have a hard stance either way on this, and I know it. That's difficult for me to say because both sides present pros and cons. So the very simple answer is I don't know. I don't know what the good answer is for this, because if you get government to step in and start regulating, oh, there goes the beer fridge. Actually, you know what? There's no beer in their beer fridge, so hold on a second. And there we go. All I'm getting now is cicadas outside, but can't really do much about that. Anyway, lost my train of thought. The only problem when you're wanting government intervention like that, you're wanting government to be the great equalizer. Whatever power you give to the government today, they can use that power tomorrow. And what I'm saying with that is if we're granting this power to the government to be the great equalizer, the next time a Democrat is in office or Democrats hold power, they will use that now double-edged sword and start deeming what they consider to be hate speech or what they consider to be fair. And they will use that sword on our side of the aisle. So that is the one thing I caution people. Whatever powers you give government today, they will use against you tomorrow. The other side of the aisle, I agree with what they're saying as well. That's why I don't want to say I don't have an opinion on it, because I have an opinion on both, but I don't have a good solution is what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like we're between a rock and a hard place. We're either going to be advocating for more government intervention or we're going to have our voices silenced. And I see where a lot of people on our side of the aisle is running to other alternate platforms, and that's great. Hey man, free market. I love it, guys. But just know that those other platforms that you're running to, like Convo or Minds or Gab.ai, you are putting yourself into an echo chamber. You're not really getting your ideas out there into the marketplace of ideas. And I mean, hey, if we're going to get squashed anyway and our voices aren't going to be heard out in the marketplace of ideas, then, I guess maybe why not run to an echo chamber and hone our conservatism and libertarianism to a finer point with similar minds. But that's still not going to get our message out. We have opinions, we have memes, we have humor, we have free thought that should be able to be shared on these social media platforms. And they're being squashed. Of course, one of the big ones that got taken down that everybody's talking about is Mr. Alex Jones. And everybody has their own opinions on Alex Jones. In one of my episodes that I did with Blue Eye Mafia, I touched on Alex Jones a little bit. He's got a lot of crazy tinfoil hat conspiracies. He's also right on the money on some things too. So he's kind of a double-edged sword. I will say this about him, and I did cover this on an episode before. Alex Jones is kind of responsible for what I would call my red pill moment. And I'm talking about red pill as a conservative. Like, I was a flag-waving, JW Republican, riding my elephant into battle every day. And then after, the 2006 election cycle, I'm banging my head up against a wall going, why is nothing changing? We have a Republican president now, and we have Republican Congress, and nothing is happening. It's still the same old crap. One of my friends just went full-on Democrat after that. Totally just turned tail and sprinted towards the Democrat Party. And he's still over there. And no saving him. He is a full-on Russia is involved at the White House, and Putin is controlling Donald Trump's strings, and Donald Trump is a puppet on Putin's strings, and he full on left-wing conspiracy nut now because of that. And I told him when all this happened, in that election cycle. I'm like, well, I'm not going to stop being a Republican. That's like saying, ow, the fire's burning me. I'm just going to just jump into the fire. Like, there's some problem here. I just haven't figured out what it is. Anyway, I just happened upon this video on Facebook, and it was an Alex Jones video. And he was talking about, hey, it's really just one party. It's a unified party, and they fight against each other when the cameras are on, and then when all the cameras are off, they go have cocktail parties together, and the Democrats and the Republicans, there's really no difference between them. And that was a hard truth for me to swallow. I ignored it. I denied it. It made me pissed off. And then I started going back and looking at evidence, really doing my homework. And then about that time, Obama came into office. And once the Republicans put up McCain as a candidate in 2008, I knew what Alex Jones was saying was correct. And that pains me to say that because he's a little kooky. I mean, he's cool, but I mean, I cannot ascribe to everything that he talks about. So anyway, as soon as they put up McCain in 2008, I was like, oh crap. Oh no. Because McCain is not like a Republican by any stretch of the imagination. So you've either got establishment types that want to stay in power and know that McCain was a safe bet, or you have Republicans that think the middle of the road guy can win the election. And we've been thinking that for years. Mitt Romney and everybody else, our side of the aisle, quote unquote, has been trying to put up. So anyway, I said all of that long-winded stuff to say that Alex Jones is originally responsible for that, and he's got a lot of kooky things to say, but I damn sure think he has a right to say those kooky things, and he should not have been deplatformed. I went through that whole monologue to tell you what you probably already know, that he was deplatformed by Twitter, Google, Facebook, Apple. They all came together and pretty much wiped his show out. He's not on YouTube anymore. He's not on Facebook anymore. His podcast is off too. And so he's been effectively silenced. Now, our side of the aisle did respond, and his news show is called InfoWars, and a lot of people went to the App Store, Google Play, and Apple, and downloaded his app. Even people that don't care anything about Alex Jones or think he's a nut still went and downloaded the app, and like he's number 3 on Apple and number 2 on Google Play now. So we're letting our voice be heard, which is nice, but we're still in a problem because conservatives can just be silenced by these social media companies. And the problem is, I don't see any kind of recourse that we have. Such Twitter, for example. The Communist Party of the USA, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, Linda Sarsour, Maxine Waters, Keith Ellison, Louis Farrakhan, Media Matters, they are not shadow banned. They're all blue check mark, good to go. They can say whatever they want. These are actual communists in the United States, or Islamo-fascists in the United States. Just having an open platform, being able to say what they say. Twitter accounts that have been censored and or shadow banned. Gavin McInnes, the Proud Boys, Alex Jones, obviously. Mark Meadows, Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Devin Nunes. By the way, those last names are actual politicians on our side of the aisle, and they're getting shadow banned. That's how bad it's become. And I said all of this to say that I don't have an easy answer for this. Like, I do not want more government intervention. But when you have a monopoly on the media like these 4 companies have, I don't see really any other recourse for us except to go to other platforms or to start our own. And that, like I said, that's already been tried with Gab and Minds. And there are other video hosting sites out there as well besides YouTube that you can use. But a lot of the times what our side of the aisle is missing is like I said before, we want to be out there in the arena of ideals. We want to be where the eyeballs and ears are. So if we make our own platforms, I haven't seen it done yet successfully. It still can be done, but we would have to come up with some kind of social media platform that is attractive to all people and all ages. And I don't know what the answer is for that as of yet. I'm all for ideas if somebody has them. I just don't have any easy answers for that yet. And that is my sad monologue on what is going on right now with free speech in this country. It's bad because it's just a tactic of the left to shut up the opposition rather than debate with the opposition. Because 9 times out of 10, I mean, yes, there are a couple of good debaters on the left, but even if you have amazing debating skills, if you're coming up against facts and data, it it usually ends up falling short. You can verbal jujitsu your way out of a situation if you're a lefty and you're trying to debate, but if you're on the right side of the aisle and you can get around the personal attacks and name calling that's inevitably going to come at you, you can squash down any liberal argument with facts and data. And that's why the left side of the aisle wants us so badly shut up. That's why Antifa thinks that violence against quote-unquote hate speech is not only acceptable but encouraged, because they can't debate in the arena of ideals. They can't. Because historically, and with any iota of common sense, we know that left-wing ideology does not work. A lot of it is based on emotion rather than fact, and emotions can get you in trouble. And they can't stand up in the marketplace, and they know that. So they have to cram their ideas down our throats. It's like the old saying of socialism: ideas so good that they have to be forced on you. And that's kind of where it's at. But anyway, I'm probably kind of preaching to the converted at this point. Just know that I don't have an easy answer for this. I don't know what is going to happen to the freedom of speech in this country. And also, I know the timing is not coincidental. We're coming up on midterm elections. I predict that there's not going to be a blue wave. I think it's either going to be a red wave or we're pretty much going to stay where we're at. And I think behind closed doors, the left side of the aisle knows that as well. And that's why they're ramping up the attacks and trying to silence any kind of dissenting speech that diverges away from leftism. And I don't have a good solution to that except keep making your voices be heard as best you can. Keep putting your ideas out there. If your account gets shadow banned, if you get banned, start another one. And that would be what I would say. That I would say to stay on these platforms. I know a lot of other people are abandoning, especially Twitter. I mean, I can't leave Twitter. President Trump's on Twitter, and his tweets are super entertaining. So how can I totally abandon Twitter? I don't like giving them any money or eyeballs, but at the same time, in my humble opinion, I think it's good for us to stay on these platforms for as long as we can, if we can, and continue to get our ideas out there until we find a solution for this. So I say we keep staying in the fight, keep fighting on the front battle lines until we have some kind of solution. Because if we retreat, we're just going to be giving up ground at this point. And that would be my humble opinion on that. I didn't talk about anything else that I wanted to talk about in the podcast. I had a bunch of other news topics and things that I wanted to touch on, and it looks like my free speech / shadow banning monologue has taken us all the way up to the 20-minute mark. So that will do it for me on this episode. Thank you guys so much again for listening. I keep getting record amounts of downloads each week, and I am super appreciative of it. I'm thanking you all for your positive feedback. You guys are great. If you do want to get in touch with me, it's publitarian@gmail.com or thepublitarian@gmail.com. I'm also on Twitter as Publitarian. I'm on Instagram as Publitarian. I'm on Minds. I'm on Gab. Just look for Publitarian and I will be there. Yeah, so feel free to engage with me on one of those platforms, and I will see you back here again on Publitarian Podcast. Thanks.
You've been listening to Publitarian Podcast. Copyright 2018.